Welcome to the Accommodation Supervisors Training DVD. My name's Paul and I'm the General Manager at Southview.
And I'm Debbie, I'm the Accommodation Manager.
Together we're going to be taking you through your roles and responsibilities as an Accommodation Supervisor with Park Resorts. There are 3 parts to your role that you need to carry out prior to the accommodation cleaner arriving to carry out the changeover clean. The first one is to carry out a thorough and detailed problem clean check, where you'll be looking for things like dirty carpets, soiled mattresses, etc. The other part will be to carry out a thorough and detailed maintenance inspection of the unit of accommodation, and the final part is to carry out a detailed and thorough inventory inspection. Okay, so the first step is we're going to carry out a detailed inspection of the accommodation. That's in 2 parts. One is looking for any problem clean areas, dirty carpets, etc. And the other part is a detailed maintenance inspection. You're going to find the information on the back of the accommodation inventory check sheet. That gives you a room by room guide of everything that you should be checking from a maintenance point of view. We're going to take you through some of these steps now so you know what you're looking for. The first thing you're going to need to do is check that all the lights are working and the shades are okay. You then need to move on to the upholstery, making sure that it's all dry, there's no rips, there's no stains, all the boards are okay, not damaged, and it's comfortable for people to sit on. You need to check the TV, making sure that the remote control is working. Just flick through a few of the channels to make sure that the signal's okay and there's going to be no problems. You then need to check the gas fire. You need to make sure you light the gas fire, making sure the ignition's okay, checking for any damage around the fire surround, making sure it's not scratched, there's no dents, there's no rust. You need to open all the windows in the accommodation, checking that they open and close okay, that the catches are in place, and that when you close the windows there's no visible gaps letting any drafts in. You need to check all the cupboards in the lounge area, making sure the door handles are okay, there's no chips, all the laminates in place, etc. The last thing you need to do in the lounge is take out the bed conversion. You're then checking the mattress to make sure that it's not ripped, it's not stained, that it's dry. You're also checking the bed conversion frame, making sure that it's not bent, it's not damaged. And you need to leave this out when you've finished. That'll just remind your cleaners that I need to clean the area all around the bed conversion. In the dining area, again you need to check all the upholstery, making sure that it's all dry, it's not badly stained, ripped or marked, making sure the boards are all okay. On the dining table, making sure that it's level, that it's not chipped, cracked, there's no laminate peeling off, and it's secure and the legs aren't rusty. You're going to need to check the sink area in the kitchen. One of the common problems is with the taps, so you need to make sure that these are secure, not loose, that they're working okay. Also checking the mastic around the sink area, making sure it's watertight, and checking the sink area itself for any damage. On the oven area, you're going to check the grill and the oven. You need to make sure you light both the grill and the oven just to make sure that they're working. At this time, if you have got a problem cleaning in terms of burnt on food, what you can do is you can pre-spray this area prior to your cleaners arriving, which is going to give them a bit of a helping hand.
There you go.
Again, on the hob area, you need to make sure that you light all the rings to make sure that they're working. With any burnt on food, you can pre-spray this area. In the kitchen area, again checking the extraction, making sure that the lights are working, the extraction itself is working. Also, while you're in the kitchen area, you need to make sure that you do a thorough check of all the cupboards, making sure the door handles all match, making sure there's no damage to the laminate, no damage to the shelving. In the bathroom, you need to carry out a thorough check of the sink, making sure that the taps are secure, also that there's a plug available for the sink, checking the surrounding areas, the mastic, etc., just to make sure there's no damage. With the toilet, you need to carry out a detailed check of the toilet seat, making sure there's no cracks or damage, that it lifts and closes okay, doing a check of the toilet bowl itself, and then finally flush the toilet to ensure there's no problems there. With the shower unit, you're carrying out a check of the door, making sure that it's intact and the seals are okay. The actual internal shower unit itself, making sure the mastic seals are in place, that there's no damage, there's no cracks to the shower liner, and also the shower and the hose itself are intact and working correctly. In the hallway, you're going to be checking all the wall coverings, all the edging strip, just to make sure that they're intact with no damage, also checking the skirting boards. You're going to carry out an internal check of all the doors, making sure that all the door handles match, the doors open and close correctly. You need to check the gas certificate in the holiday, making sure that it's the correct one and it's in date. We also need to ensure that the boiler is lit so our cleaners have got hot water when they attend the caravan. You also need to go around once you've lit the boiler and make sure that all the hot water taps are producing hot water. In the bedroom, you need to check all the vanity units just to make sure that there's no damage, there's no chips and the laminate's intact. You also need to do a thorough check of all the walls, skirting boards, wall trims, etc. to make sure they're intact. In the wardrobe, you need to carry out the same checking, making sure the handles match, that there's sufficient coat hangers in place and they're the correct type. Also checking that there's no damage internally to the wardrobe. You need to ensure that the spare duvet is left in a clear plastic bag in the wardrobe in the main room, ready for the pull-out conversion. One of your responsibilities is to ensure that the beds are stripped so you can carry out a thorough and detailed check of the bed bases and mattresses to make sure that there's going to be no problems. Once you've stripped the bed, you need to carry out a detailed check of the mattress, making sure it's dry, there's no spring sticking through, also checking the bed base to make sure there's no damage. You need to carry out a detailed check of your duvet and pillows, again to make sure there's no damage, there's no marks or stains, and they're suitable for reuse. Once you've stripped all the beds in your holiday home, you need to place all the dirty linen into a clear plastic bag. This then needs to be left outside the caravan, ready for the linen team to collect. As part of your responsibility, under our health and safety policy and current legislation, there are a number of checks that need to be carried out on the accommodation. These need to be recorded on the relevant documentation, and we're going to go through these checks with you right now. There's a bit of a pause on this, you'll do it again. We're now going to be checking the inventory in the caravan. How this is going to work, we're going to check the standard inventory in the caravan, and we're going to cross-reference that with your inventory check sheet. We're going to explain to you what you need to do should you find any problems with any missing or damaged inventory. Towards the end of this section, we're going to be going through some good and bad examples of how the inventory should be presented in your caravan, so we can set the expectation of what it should look like. It's important that we ensure that all the inventory in the caravan is matching, from the plates to the glasses to the utensils that we provide. If a caravan has white plates, for example, and one's missing, we need to ensure that it's replaced with a white plate. Glasses is another common problem. We need to ensure that all the glasses match in terms of the wine glasses are all the same and the tumblers are the same as well. There's a common problem where guests from the complex return glasses to their accommodation, and these tend to get left in there too. We need to make sure that anything that's not part of the standard inventory is removed. You need to make sure you record all your missing and damaged inventory on your inventory check sheet, as you're going to need this information later when you come back to check that the inventory has been replaced. Okay, so we've now completed our inventory check. This has identified some missing and some damaged items. Your accommodation manager on your park is going to explain to you the process that you'll need to follow to ensure that these items are replaced before the guests check into the holiday home. Okay, so myself and Debbie are going to move on to our next unit of accommodation, carry out the same process. The cleaner is just about to arrive to carry out the changeover clean, and we'll be back in an hour just to see if all the issues that we've reported have been resolved and we can sign the final release off for the guests arriving. Okay, so we're now back in our unit of accommodation. We're coming back to check to make sure that the cleanliness has been completed in line with our company standard. We're also going to check that the maintenance jobs that were reported have been completed to an acceptable standard, and we're also going to check that our missing inventory items have been replaced and that the inventory is presented to our company standard. Let's go.
Would you please remember to check all round your door frames, especially at the bottom, to make sure there's no build-up of dirt and grime, because that's the first thing the customers will see. just rubbing my hand over the lino floor to make sure that it's clean, as it's quite difficult when you stood up to see how dirty it is. As you can see, the cleaner has mopped the floor in this van. A common problem that we find in our vans is high level dusting. Can you please check all these areas? As you can see, it's clean, and please could you also check air vents and all high dusting areas. Can you also please remember to check all your windows, all the frames, also open your windows, check all outside the grooves to make sure that there's no build-up of debris, and also could you please remember to check behind all your seats and all the wood. When you come back into the caravan, your cleaner will have left your daybed out for you, so you can give it a thorough check to make sure that it has been done, and then please put away. Could you also please check all surfaces to make sure that they have been cleaned and there's no debris on them. Behind TVs, mirrors to make sure there's no smears, also inside your cupboards. We'd also like you to check all the walls and skirting boards to make sure that there's no marks, scuffs on them, things like that. Could you also please check all your ceilings, corners for cobwebs and marks, and also your lights and the domes to make sure there's no flies in them. We're now going to check the fridge. We'll check the front first to make sure there's no rust or damage, and we'll pull it out to make sure that there's nothing behind it. We'll now check inside the fridge. Now we're going to check inside the fridge to make sure that it's clean and there's no rust or damage. We'll also, don't forget to check the freezer. We're now going to check the kettle and toaster to make sure that they are clean. The toaster needs to be clean and free of crumbs, and the kettle needs to be emptied. We're now going to check the sink to make sure that it's clean and free of debris, especially around the plug hole. We're now going to check the microwave. Please check all your tops and sides behind the microwave to make sure that there's no food or debris underneath, and also inside, and please make sure you look up. We're now going to check the, start again. Sorry.
Go on.
We're now, can I just keep going?
Yeah.
We're now going to check the cooker plus the cooker hood. Please check for grease. We're going to check the backsplash for grease, cooker top for food and grease, inside the grill, and also inside the cooker. We're now checking the hallway. Can you please check all your walls for marks, doors, lights, ceilings, skirting boards, and also the boiler cupboard. Could you please make sure that it's been either hoovered or mopped? We're now checking the toilet. Could you please make sure that there's a toilet roll in? Check the toilet to make sure there's no marks or stains. Please do underneath and behind. Now checking the sink. Can you please make sure that your taps are nice and clean at the top, around, underneath. They're shined up. There's no scale. Your backsplash underneath the sink, tops, and that please make sure that all your blinds, ceilings, skirting boards and walls are all showers. Can you please make sure that the shower door is clean, there's no watermarks, all the grooves areas are clean. Inside the shower, make sure all your chrome's are shiny, the plug hole's free from debris. We're now checking the bedroom. Can you please do like you've done through the rest of the van? your skirting boards, walls, lights, all the wood. Make sure that the bed's made to our company standards and that the card is on the bed. We are now going to check our inventory to make sure what was missing has now been replaced and that it is to our company standard. We're now checking all our inventory. First thing is the glasses. We're checking all the glasses to make sure that they all match and that they're all clean. Then crockery. We're checking once again to make sure that it all matches and that it's all clean, to make sure there's no stains in your cups. Also, please check the plates to make sure they're clean and they all match. Could you also please check washing up bowl, drainer, inside all your cupboards to make sure it's all matching, it's all clean, it's all neat and tidy. Also, this was one of the things that was missing. We've replaced it, and please would you make sure that any stickers are removed before it goes back into the cupboard. We're now going on to your cookery. Please check that it's all clean and that all the items are there. And especially teaspoons, please check. The utensils, can you please make sure that they're all matching and that they're either silver or we do a plastic. Do one final check, and that will be that the cleaning equipment we're leaving for the customers. Items to check. There is a brush, a dustpan and brush, a mop and bucket. Could you also please check to make sure that your mop head is usable and clean. The area is in the double bedroom.
Okay, so we've now completed our checks in terms of the cleaning standards, the inventory standards, and that our maintenance issues have been resolved. We're happy that this caravan is good for release. As an accommodation supervisor, you will be signing all the checks off to confirm that you're happy for this caravan, this holiday home, this chalet to be released to our guests. The simple rule of thumb for me would be, if you'd paid to come on holiday and you arrived at this caravan, would you be happy and is it acceptable? So, on your park, you might find that there's some issues that haven't been resolved. If it's a cleaning issue that has not been resolved, what you need to do as an accommodation supervisor is you need to come back to the caravan with that particular cleaner and you need to retrain them in the issues that you found. It's imperative that you do this and you don't simply resolve the issue for them. That way they're going to learn moving forward, and we can increase the standards throughout the accommodation. If you come to a caravan, chalet, and there's a maintenance issue that's not been resolved, again, you still will be signing off to release the caravan. If the maintenance jobs have not been done, or they've not been done to the correct standard, your accommodation manager will explain to you what process you will follow at your park to ensure that these issues are addressed moving forward. So we're happy with this particular holiday home. When they're going to sign it off for release, back on your park, your accommodation manager will explain to you what process you will need to follow to give the final release to reception, ready for the guest's arrival.